Just a minute. Yes. Take out page number 8. We did the meristematic tissue. That is, there are 3 types of them. Mainly apical meristematic tissue, lateral meristematic tissue, and intercalary meristematic tissue. So we will discuss it once again, right? So what is a meristematic tissue? Meristematic tissue is nothing but a group of actively dividing cells, right? What they do, they just divide and divide up to a certain level, right? Their function is to produce new cells. So by actively dividing, they produce new cells again and again. Now come to its characteristics. We have already discussed small living cells, round, polygonal or oval.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, yes. Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, you give in Moodle homework we do in copy.
What I gave you this one, na? To write the types of meristematic tissue, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you have to write it in copy and then you have to make it a file and then upload it on Moodle.
Okay,
right?
ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
It's very easy.
Okay.
It's only one sentence. Okay, apical meristem, lateral meristem, intercalary meristem. Everything has one or two sentence each. So you have to write it. Yes.
Ma'am, in the model app, so many chapters are coming.
So you don't have to do that one. Okay, I'll hide those chapters. Right, you have to do only which I am telling you to do. I am asking you to do. That is tissues, and I uploaded the video also and the assignment also. Were you able to see the assignment in the Moodle app, which I gave you? The types of meristems, right?
Yes.
So you have to do that much only. Others you do not do. I will hide that, okay? And I'll ask you when to do. Right? You understood?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Then we were talking about the characteristics. They do not have intercellular spaces between them, right? These cells continuously divide. So why they do not have intercellular spaces? Because meristematic cells are dividing cells, right? These cells divide and form more cells. Okay, they cover the whole cell with more number of cells. They cover that area, and finally they are so packed to each other. They are so, we can say they are so close to each other. They are packed very close to each other, and thus they do not have intercellular spaces, right? In some cells, okay, you can see in some cells there are intercellular spaces between them. You can see white spaces, right? But in this one, in meristematic tissues, they divide continuously and they do not have intercellular spaces between them. They occupy the whole space, right? The cells have a thin cell wall. Okay, the cell wall is made up of cellulose. The cell wall is very thin and made up of cellulose. Rich in cytoplasm. You all know plant cells contain cytoplasm. A cell contains cytoplasm. In cytoplasm, other organelles are present, right? So the cytoplasm is very rich, that is very denser. Okay. Then the vacuoles are either very small or absent. The plants contain vacuole. If they are there, they are very small, but sometimes they are absent also, right? And the cells divide actively. Okay, we already know what are meristematic tissues. The tissues in which cells divide actively, continuously. Okay, these are dividing cells. So the cells divide actively and form number of cells, that is masses of cells are formed. Now the 3 types, apical meristematic, lateral meristematic and intercalary, right? So in apical meristematic tissue is found at the tip of the stem and roots. These tissues are found where? At the tip of the stem and the roots, that is at the upward portion, the topmost portion, the tip. Okay, like it's the stem or it's the root. So in the tip they are found, right? What they do, it increases the height. Okay, it increases the length of the stem and root. Lateral meristematic tissue, what they do, they are found along the side of the stem and roots. Okay, sideways, that is lateral ways. You can see there is a main stem. Okay, these, like suppose this is a main stem, right? And this is a lateral stem. From this main stem, a lateral stem is attached, right? And the roots also same case. There is a main root, and from that main root, many lateral roots arises, right? So these lateral meristematic tissues are found along the lateral sides of the stem and roots, and they increases the diameter of the stem and root. What does the apical meristem do? It increases the length. But the lateral meristem, what it does? It increases the diameter, okay, the width. Now, in intercalary meristematic tissue or intercalary meristem is found between the regions of permanent tissues. Where are they found? Between the regions of permanent tissues. That is the base of nodes, internodes, and leaves. That means not the stem, not the roots, but the base of nodes, internodes, and leaves. That is through a leaf, sorry, through a stem, a leaf is attached, right? So between that leaf and the stem, or the leaves, or the internodes, that is between the stalk and the stem, between them, these intercalary meristematic tissues are present. What they do, it increases the length of these parts, that is the leaf, the internode, the nodes. Intercalary meristematic tissue increases the length of these three parts. Okay. Now, it was just a revision for you. What is meristematic tissue, characteristics, and the types, right? Now the permanent tissue. Come to permanent tissue, that is page number 9. Take out page number 9, permanent tissue. So I'll read it out. The meristematic cells divide and form new cells. These cells elongate, mature, and differentiate into various types of permanent tissues. The permanent cells do not divide further. They get specialized to perform a specific function. Permanent tissue is a group of cells that does not have the ability to divide and has a permanent shape, size, and function. So, what are permanent tissues? We already know meristematic tissues क्या होते हैं? Meristematic tissues are those which continuously divide, right? But these meristematic tissue, at a certain point of time, they stop dividing, right? They divide and they occupy much space. And then at a certain time, they stop dividing. So when they stop dividing, these meristematic cells or these meristematic tissues are known as permanent tissue. So eventually permanent tissue kya ho gaya? What is permanent tissue? It is the meristematic tissue itself. It is the permanent tissue is the meristematic tissue which is non-dividing in nature. The meristematic tissues are dividing and then forming a mass up to a certain time. Yes.
मैम आपने आप you give in Moodle से three we write in copy, तो we 7 में से हम 3 में कौन से भी लिख सकते हैं मैम?
Sorry, yes, you have to write these three: the meristematic tissue, apical meristem, lateral meristem, and intercalary meristem.
Okay मैम.
Nothing else.
Okay.
Yes. So if there's something which you are supposed to write, I'll give you later after the class. Okay. Now we will permanent tissue. Yes. So pay attention. What is permanent tissue? Permanent tissue is nothing but the meristematic tissue which is already divided and attained a certain level, right? So these permanent tissues are non-dividing cells. After attaining a certain level, a certain function, sorry, a certain level, these meristematic tissues get matured, right? They divide and get matured, and these matured permanent tissue, sorry, these matured tissues are known as permanent tissues. These do not further divide, right? These tissues do not further divide. They are matured and they are known as permanent tissues, right? Now, the permanent cells do not divide further. They get specialized to perform specific function. These permanent tissue, that is the meristematic tissue, which are converted into, which are now known as permanent tissue, right? They do not divide further. What they do, they get specialized into different functions, right? They get specialized for doing different functions of the plant body. So permanent tissue, if it is asked in exam, it is nothing but the meristematic tissue, the matured meristematic tissue is known as the permanent tissue. So here is the definition. Yes.
Ma'am, meristematic tissue and permanent tissue are the are the examples of tissues in plants?
Yes, these are the types of tissues in plants. Okay, there are two types
Thank you,
of
ma'am.
tissues, meristematic and permanent. So if you learn meristematic one, so in meristematic, it is divided into three portions, which I gave you as assignment. That is the apical, lateral, and intercalary meristem. Right? This much is clear. Then the
Yes, ma'am.
permanent one. Okay. Uh, when we learn that meristematic and permanent tissue as different tissues. But if we come to permanent tissue is nothing but the meristematic tissue which is matured, right? As I told you, the meristematic tissues, they get, after attaining a certain level, they just stop dividing. They stop dividing themselves, they get matured, and then they are referred as permanent tissues, nothing else, right? So these permanent tissues, when they are matured, they get specialized to do different functions of the plant body, right? Nothing, no any other function, but only they get specialized to perform different plant functions. Okay, the functions in the plant. So here is the definition of the permanent tissue. In the bold letters, you can see permanent tissue is a group of cells that does not have the ability to divide and has a permanent shape, size, and function. Okay, for your understanding, I told you, you can also add that these are matured meristematic tissues which do not further divide. Right? Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
ma'am.
Permanent tissues are nothing but the mature meristematic tissues which get specialized to do different functions. Now, come to page number 9 in your left hand side, the last paragraph. The cells of permanent tissues may be living or dead. These tissues form the bulk of the plant body. They are present in all the parts of a plant except the meristematic regions. So these permanent tissue, they may be living or dead. Okay, they are found in the they are found in the regions of permanent regions, right? They are not found in the meristematic regions. These are two different things. When we say the permanent ones are the mature meristematic tissue, it does not mean they are same. They are different, right? They have different categories. The meristematic has three different categories. We told apical, lateral, and intercalary. But the permanent one have a different category. They have different types. Okay, what are the types? Permanent tissues are of two types, simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Now, what do you mean by simple permanent tissues? The word simple describes that it is simple. It's a structure, or when we see its occurrence is very simple, right? So let us read this paragraph, simple permanent tissues. These tissues give support and protection to the plant. Depending on the function, they are classified into two types, protective and supportive tissues. Now, these simple permanent tissues, what they do, they basically give support to the plant cells, right? They give support and protection to the plant. Depending on the function, they are further classified into two types, that is protective and supportive. We already learned in the first line that they give support and protection. So depending on their function, they are two, that is supportive and protective. Now we'll read the protective tissues. These tissues protect the plant parts. Their cells are thick-walled. These tissues are found in all parts of plant like leaves, stem, and roots. The epidermis of the stems and leaves is an example of protective tissue. So we already know these tissues protect the plant parts, right? They are protective tissues, thus they protect the plant parts. And their cells are thick, okay? They are thick-walled. These tissues are found in the parts like leaves, stem, and roots. Please underline these things. Underline what I am saying. Okay, underline protect the plant parts. Then cells are thick-walled. Then found in all parts of plant like leaves, stem, and roots. The last line is epidermis of stems and leaves is an example of protective tissue. Now, what is an epidermis? This is an extra knowledge for you. You can write it down. What is an epidermis? Epidermis is nothing but a mass of cells formed in a line, right? Many cells form a mass, not a mass, but a line. Okay, they are arranged in a line, and this forms a line a thick line. Okay, these are thick walled, so they form a thick line. This is known as epidermis. This is found where? This is found in the stems and leaves, right? Epidermis of stems and leaves is an example of protective tissue. So these epidermis, that is, these cells, these cells which have formed a line, okay, a thick lining, these are found in stems and leaves, and they act as a protective tissue. Why? Because this is also an extra knowledge for you. Maybe it is given in your book. Yes. Come to the last line. Due to the presence of the cuticle, water drops do not stick onto the leaves. Now, where is this cuticle present? Cuticle is nothing but a waxy coating. Wax-like coating is present. You all know, like if we burn a candle, right? The wax which comes out from that candle is very slippery in nature. Okay, it does not stick. Okay, it's very slippery. If the wax is poured on some surface, it becomes it does not stick to it. Okay, it stick at once, then we can remove that, right? It's very smooth surface. The waxy surface is very smooth in nature, right? So these epidermis, they contain cuticle, and this cuticle has a waxy coating, right? Because of this waxy coating, the water droplets, they do not get absorbed inside the plant body, right? When these water droplets fall into this waxy coating, they just slip away or they just get pulled away, right? They get pushed away. So they do not get absorbed by the plant body or they do not stick into the leaves, right? So we can say epidermis prevents the leaves and the stem because it contains a waxy coating known as cuticle, which prevents the water drops to stick onto the leaves, right? So epidermis is an example of what? It is a protective tissue. The epidermis, now come to page number 10. Come to page number 10, first paragraph. The epidermis of leaves has tiny pores. They are called stomata. The exchange of gases between the leaves and the environment takes place through the stomata. Okay, now maybe in your junior classes, you have studied what is a stomata. Stomata is found where? It is found on the surface of leaves, right? So with the help of the stomata contains small, tiny pores. And through this, transpiration occurs. You know what transpiration is? Have you studied transpiration? Can I get an answer? Anyone? Shetali, Aditi, have you studied transpiration? Can I get a yes if you have studied? Try to respond in this class. It's a bio class. We need to interact with each other, right? Can I get an answer? Anyone? Sakina Bohra? Do you know what is transpiration? If you all do not know, then I have to explain you. That's why I'm asking.
No, ma'am.
Okay, you do not know what is transpiration. I'll tell you transpiration is a very simple definition. Yes. So, yes, I'll explain
Ma'am?
what is transpiration. Yes.
Ma'am, transpiration or transportation?
Not transportation. I'm asking about transpiration. 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 You know what it is?
Sorry, ma'am. I know transportation.
Okay.
Ma'am, can I?
Yes, Hemang.
Ma'am, the small plant convert it. Ma'am, is called ma'am transpiration.
So I'll tell you the answer. Okay, don't get confused. Some of these words are very similar to each other, like transportation, transpiration. Okay, so don't get confused. Transpiration is nothing but the loss of water from the leaves or the apical portions of the plant body in the form of water vapor, right? For example, our human body sweats. Okay, we sweat a lot. This sweat gets into the or mixes up with the atmosphere in the form of water vapor. When the heat is more, our body, the sweat in the body gets evaporated, right? You know evaporation. the water molecules just go away in the atmosphere. They get evaporated out. So similarly, the plant body, when the water is more inside them, okay, when they absorb water from the soil, sometimes the water gets more. Okay, sometimes the water is more inside the plant body. To remove this excess water, they apply the process of transpiration. Transpiration is nothing but the loss of water from the apical parts. Apical means from the top parts like leaf and the stem, the branches. Okay, the apical parts of the plant body in the form of water vapor. The water is thrown outside in form of water vapor, right? So this process, this loss of water is known as transpiration. So now you will think from where does this transpiration came? But you need to know because here it is said that epidermis of leaves has tiny pores. Okay, they are known as called stomata. They are known as stomata. Now these stomata helps in transpiration. That's the link between transpiration and this topic. The stomata, from this stomata, these tiny pores helps in the loss of water to take the water outside of the plant body. The exchange of gases between the leaves and the environment takes place through stomata. Not only throwing the water from inside is there, but also what does it helps? What does it helps in? The exchange of gases between the leaves and environment. That is, the leaves and environment exchange some gases, that is carbon dioxide, oxygen, right? For the preparation of food and some particular processes, they need exchange of gases. For this process, they have this stomata, this tiny pores are present on the epidermis, right? So this is just about
Yes, ma'am.
epidermis of leaves. Yes, they have tiny pores known as stomata. Stomata helps in gaseous exchange and water loss, right? And that water loss is known as transpiration, right? You can also write stomata helps in transpiration. So I hope you understood this much. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, good. Now comes the supportive tissues. So we have already studied about the protective tissues. That is, we have learned an example, that is epidermis. Epidermis is a protective tissue. Now the supportive tissues. So there are basically three types of supportive tissues. Now have a look. These tissues give support and strength to the plant. They are of three types. A supportive tissue, from the name itself, it is defined that they give support and strength to the plant tissues, right? They are of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Now we will discuss the first one, the parenchyma. Parenchyma is made up of thin-walled cells. The cells may be spherical or oval in shape. Intercellular spaces are present. A large vacuole and a nucleus are present in the cytoplasm. Now location. It is found in almost all the parts of the plant, like the stem, root, leaf, flower, and fruit. It is present in the soft parts, like the pulp of the fruit. Functions: it stores food. In the leaves of green plants, parenchyma tissue contains chloroplast. It is called chlorenchyma. It helps the plant to make food during photosynthesis, right? So what is parenchyma? Parenchyma are thin-walled. They are present inside. They are the supportive tissues which are present inside the permanent tissues, right? The permanent tissue consists of simple permanent tissue. They are further divided into protective and supportive. Protective, we have an example, that is the epidermis. Epidermis is the coating, the covering, or the layer of cells. But in supportive tissue, there are three: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. What does parenchyma do? The function of parenchyma is basically to store the food, right? The function is written here. It stores food, and it is found in root, stem, leaf. Okay, basically leaf, because this leaves, this food is stored in leaves, right? You have already studied, you may have studied that the food is made in the leaves. These are stored in the leaves. Then these are transported into the different parts of the plant body. So the location is stem, root, leaf, flower, and fruit. But its function is that it basically stores food. So we can also say that the parenchyma is a filler tissue, right? Why it is known as a filler tissue? Because it is storing food. Storing means filling. Like we fill something in a box, like we fill something in a container, that means we are storing it in that. So storing and filling are almost same. So we can say parenchyma, we can define parenchyma as a filler tissue. F-I-L-L-E-R. You can write in front of parenchyma, filler tissue. Right? So you can understand it better. From filler, you
Please
can.
repeat that.
Yes.
Ma'am, what issue?
Filler tissue. F-I-L-L-E-R. F-I-L-L-E-R. Filler tissue. Filler means filling. Like we store something in a container. We fill something in a container. We fill our bottles, right? So similarly, this parenchyma, it fills itself with food. It stores the food materials. That's why it is known as the filler tissue. Are you getting my point?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. I'll explain it again. You can see this bottle. This is filled with water, right? I have filled this bottle with water. So similarly, the parenchyma tissue fill themselves with food. They store food, which are made in leaves, stem, everywhere. Okay, food is made in the leaf. Then they are transported into different parts like stem, okay, flower, fruit, everywhere. So they basically store food. And we also know that they contain intercellular spaces between them. So the food is stored in these spaces present between them. If they are packed, they cannot store food, right? If they are packed very closely to each other, then they will be supportive in nature. Okay, they will support the plant. But they have spaces between them. That's why they store food. Now, in the leaves of green plants, parenchyma tissue contains chloroplast. It is called chlorenchyma. In green plants, this tissue, this parenchyma tissue, in the green plants, it is known as chlorenchyma. In your book, the spelling is given chlorenchyma in bold letters. It helps the plant make food. Okay, how does a plant make food for itself? By the process of photosynthesis, right?
Photosynthesis.
Yes, very good. By the process of photosynthesis, the plants make food. So in plants, these tissues, this parenchyma tissue is known as chlorenchyma. Okay, they have different names. In plant tissues, they are known as chlorenchyma. That is in green plants. Now come to that pink box. In many aquatic plants, cells of parenchyma have well-developed air cavities. These are called aerenchyma. These help the plant float in water. So you have seen some aquatic plants. You may have seen some aquatic plants. That is, give me an example of an aquatic plant. Do you know a plant which grows in water? You may have seen. We can take the example of lotus. Right. Lotus grows in mud and water, a mud which is a water which is very muddy, right? Inside the mud it grows. So it is an aquatic plant. So in aquatic plants, what happens? The parenchyma has well developed air cavities. Cavities means pores. Small pores are there so that air can pass through them, right? So in that way, in aquatic plants, these parenchyma are known as aerenchyma. Right. So it has three names, like parenchyma normally in the plants. But in green plants, they are known as chlorenchyma. Okay, because of the pigment, okay, because they produce food during photosynthesis, they are known as chlorenchyma because of the presence of chloroplasts. Okay, chloroplasts are nothing but green pigments, right? Which impart green color to the plant. So in green plants, they are known as chlorenchyma. And in aquatic plants, because they have small pores, that is these well-developed air cavities are there, they are known as aerenchymas, right? The spelling is given in your book. In bold letters, it is given aerenchyma. Because of the presence of air cavities, it is known as aerenchyma. That is in aquatic plants. Don't get confused. Don't write it in the side of plants. In aquatic plants, it is it is specific there. That is, in aquatic plants, they are known as aerenchyma because of the presence of small air cavities, right? Do anyone have any doubt?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay. Then come to collenchyma. The second one, collenchyma. Collenchyma is made up of elongated oval or polygonal cells. The cell wall is thickened at the corners due to the deposition of cellulose and pectin. Intercellular spaces are absent. Vacuoles and nucleus are present. It is found in the leaf stalk and below the epidermis of the stem. Function is to give support to the plant, gives elasticity and flexibility. Thus, it helps in the bending of leaves and stem without breaking them. Now, collenchyma, it is found in the epidermis of the stem, right? The cell layer which is present in the stem, it is found there. It do not have intercellular spaces between them. It has, yes, intercellular spaces are absent. That means we told in parenchyma, intercellular spaces are present. That means there is lot of space between the cells and the food material is stored there. But in collenchyma, these spaces, the intercellular spaces, they are absent. That means the cells are closely arranged with each other. They are packed very closely to each other, right? So we can say there is no intercellular spaces. Vacuoles and nucleus are present because it's a plant cell. Vacuoles and nucleus are present. Its location is in the leaf stalk. What is the leaf stalk? You may have studied in the sixth standard. The leaves, in that between the leaf and the stem, there's a green portion, okay, through which the leaf is attached to the stem. That green portion is known as the leaf stalk. So this leaf stalk and the epidermis of the stem, that is the thick lining of the stem, there it is found. The collenchyma is found there. The function is to give support to the plant. Now, since it is giving the support to the plant, it is known as supportive tissue. We already told parenchyma, it is storing food or it is filling itself with food. That's why it is known as the filler tissue. Now the collenchyma, it is providing support to the plant cells. So it is known as the supportive tissues, right? Also, it gives elasticity and flexibility to the plant. That means you see some stem and leaves, they bend, but they do not get broken, right? They do not break. It is because of the presence of collenchyma in them, because these provide what? These provide flexibility. Flexibility means the tendency to bend, right? Flexibility is the tendency to bend, or elasticity, that means to stretch themselves, right? You have seen a rubber band. We can stretch a rubber band to some extent, right? It has more elasticity in it. So similarly, collenchyma cells also, they give elasticity and flexibility to the stem and the leaves, so that they do not break, and they get elasticitated, right? They can stretch themselves, they can bend themselves, right? So this is about collenchyma. You have any doubt in this?
No, ma'am.
Right. So now we have 4 minutes more. So we will discuss sclerenchyma. Come to sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is made up of closely packed dead cells. These cells are long and narrow. They are thick-walled. The thickness of the cell wall is due to the deposition of lignin or cellulose. Intercellular spaces are absent. The cells lack nucleus and cytoplasm. It is found in the hard parts of a plant like veins of leaves, covering of seeds, and barks of trees. Sclerenchyma are of two types, fibers and sclerates. Now, basically, sclerenchyma, these are dead cells, right? They are found where? They are found in the hard parts, like the covering of seeds or the barks of trees, right? These are the hard parts of the plant. So these are found, the sclerenchyma is found in the hard parts. Since they are found in the hard parts, okay, they do not have function, they do not perform function like storing food and supporting, so they lack vacuole. Sorry, they lack nucleus. Now their deposition is lignin and cellulose. They are made up of lignin or cellulose, and the collenchyma, it is made up of what? Cellulose and pectin. Okay, cellulose is the basic composition of both. So you have to write an exam if it is asked what is sclerenchyma or define the characteristics, define sclerenchyma. You have to write this much. They are closely packed dead cells. Okay. The thickness of the cell wall is due to the deposition of lignin or cellulose. They lack nucleus. They are found in the hard parts of the plant. That is, you can write two examples, covering of seeds or the bark of trees. Okay, bark means, you know what is bark? We say in Hindi, it is said as chhal. That is the outer portion. Yes. You know now what is chhal? The outer portion of the trees, right? That is the bark. So there, these cells, sclerenchyma tissues are present. Now, these sclerenchyma cells are of two types, fibers. Is anyone saying something? Right. Sclerenchyma cells are of two types, fibers and sclerites. Fibers are elongated spindle-shaped cells with pointed ends. Examples are cotton fibers and jute fibers. Sclerites are small cells with an extremely thick lignified cell wall. The pulp of fruit and seed coat contains sclerites. Like fibers, if we take an example of fiber, fiber is what? Fibers are found in the cotton fibers, jute fibers. These are examples of fibers. These are elongated, means long, and spindle shaped. Spindle shaped means they are spindle shaped means like this one. Okay, like not a cone, but a spindle shape. These are spindle shaped and elongated. Okay, with pointed ends, right? So they are found in jute fibers and cotton fibers. But sclerites, where they are found in the pulp of fruit. Like we have mango pulp, right? So mango के अंदर जो pulp होता है उनमें sclerites पाया जाता है, right? These are small cells with extremely thick lignified cell wall. Cell wall is very thick, right? And are found in the pulp of fruit and the seed coat that contains sclerites. The function is to give strength and rigidity to the plant. It forms a protective covering around seeds. So since it is giving strength and rigidity, it is basically acting as a protective covering. So we can say this sclerenchyma is known as a protector tissue. Okay, we have three tissues, parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma is the filler tissue because it stores food. Collenchyma is the supportive tissue. Why? Because it gives support to the plant cells. Sclerenchyma is known as the protector tissue. Why? Because it is giving strength and rigidity. It is forming a protective layer. It is forming a protective layer or the covering around seeds. So it is known as protective tissue or the protector tissue. Right? Did you all understand this much?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So have a look at this portion. Okay, read this once after the class, after when you get time. Read this once from permanent tissue to this second topic, that is supportive tissue, parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Read these three. Okay, try to differentiate them. What is the difference between them? That is, you can make out the difference. You can point out the difference from the name itself, from the names we have given them, the filler tissue, the supportive tissue, and the protector tissue. So from that you can get the difference also. So try to find out the difference. Okay, for your better understanding, I am asking you to find out the difference. So that's all for today. We'll stop here. We'll do the next portion in the next class. If anyone has doubt,
Thank you, ma'am.
yes. Okay, thank you everyone.